Sorti l'autre côté là-bas, sorti l'autre côté là-bas, dans l'occipé le sac. Un petit peuple déraciné, qui peut vivre dans la pauvreté. Nous partenons à l'identité. Un petit peuple déraciné, qui peut vivre dans la pauvreté.
There are times when one tragedy, one crime, tells us how a whole system works behind its democratic facade and helps us understand how much of the world is run for the benefit of the powerful and how governments often justify their actions with lies. The film you're about to see is a shocking, almost incredible story. A government calling itself civilized, tricked and expelled its most vulnerable citizens so that it could give their homeland to a foreign power for a military base. This was all done in high secrecy, and this same government and its successors then watched its citizens starve to death. It watched them despair and take their own lives, while at the same time ministers and their officials mounted a campaign of deception that went all the way up to the Prime Minister. That government was a British government whose policies are continued today. This report is about a faraway people most of you will have never heard of, and yet the lies covering the injustice done to them will be all too familiar. This is Diego Garcia, the main island of the Chagos group in the Indian Ocean. It was once a phenomenon of natural beauty and peace, a paradise. Today it is one of America's biggest military bases in the world. There are more than 2,000 troops, 2 bomber runways, 30 warships, and a satellite spy station.
B-1 and B-52 long-range bombers extended their reach from the British base at Diego Garcia in the Indian Ocean.
From here, the United States has attacked Afghanistan and Iraq. The Pentagon calls it an indispensable platform for policing the world.
Missile launch right, 3 o'clock.
Diego Garcia is a British colony. It lies midway between Africa and Asia, one of a group of unique coral islands. This is rare film taken by missionaries before the Americans came in the 1960s. 2,000 people lived in the Chagos Islands, a gentle Creole population originally from Africa and India, whose communities dated back to the late 18th century. They were thriving villages, a school, a hospital, a jail, a church, a railway, and above all, a benign, undisturbed way of life.
Si mon grand-mère Bisaïl, roi naissance le Diego Gracia, mon grand-mère n'est là-bas, mon maman n'est là-bas, moi mon est là-bas, si moi mon fait 6 enfants Diego, et nan di moun qui plus grand que mon grand-mère Bisaïl, qui gagne des enfants là-bas.
Le Diego qui plus bon souvenir, nous tu manger, nous tu boire. Jamais nous pas tu manque non rien. Et jamais nous pas acheter non rien ici. À part de linge pour nous mettre l'eau nous.
C'est na poule, canard, porc. Moi na mon baniché, quand la mer sec, moi aller me prendre autres m'amène dans la mer avec moi, je t'attrape poisson. Je t'amène autres, mettre devant moi.
Unknown to the islanders, all this was about to end. a conspiracy was underway between the governments of Britain and the United States. The year is 1961. In this film, never seen before, the man on the right is Rear Admiral Grantham of the US Navy. His visit to Diego Garcia marked the beginning of a top-secret Anglo-American survey of the island for a military base so vast that it would cost over $1 billion. The Chagos Islands were then governed from Mauritius, 1,000 miles away. When Mauritius got its independence from Britain in 1968, it was on condition that it would lay no claim to the Chagos Islands. Hidden from Parliament and the US Congress, the deal was this. The Americans wanted the island, in their words, swept and sanitized. An entire population was declared expendable. All of them were to be deported.
The British and American authorities implemented a policy decision that was aimed at depriving that community in the Chagos from basic supplies. No milk, no dairy products, no oil, no sugar, no salt, no medication, no more of the things you use in life.
The effect of the policy was to terrify many of them into leaving. They were also told their islands might be bombed. In the spring of 1971, Sir Bruce Greatbatch, KCVO, CMG, MBE, Governor of the Seychelles, gave the order that all the dogs on Diego Garcia were to be killed. These were much-loved pets, and the horror of their killing was taken as a warning by the islanders. Almost 1,000 pets were rounded up and gassed using the exhaust fumes from American military vehicles.
Ça ban enfants là content autres les chiens quand peut venir raser autres les chiens, divan autres peut pleurer, autres peut crier, c'est là ça grain.
I mean, the relationship with our pets should be the same, whether you are Chagosian or whether you are British. And they were absolutely destroyed by the fate reserved to their dogs. And many of them told me, in no uncertain words, they were told that any objection to the depopulation, they would suffer the same fate.
Perhaps the lowest trick was that those islanders needing to go to Mauritius were prevented from returning home.
Tout le monde quitte là-bas. Mon vini pour venir sur mon bébé, pour retourner dans l'endroit. Les temps moi aller mal bureau tard. Diamant bien sagrin, il tape moi les deux. Diamant bien sagrin Élysée. Papa là encore là-bas, il fini vendi. Mon bonhomme tu peux assisé dans le sofa. Il guette moi dans mon figure comme ça, moi tout lit sur des bras tombés comme ça. Il gagne congestion en place. Sur la main paralysée, sur la bouche, tout ça là. Lève-li, amène-li l'hôpital. Il me voit ça même à sa congestion là même.
The remaining population were summoned to the administrator's office and told that their homeland had been sold and that those who remained will be loaded onto ships and expelled. In this photograph, people are standing in silence, stunned.
Vinil in fait une réunion NR, code bureau, n'appelle nous tout, nous pas obligés quitter. Mais c'est qui tu peux passer là-bas,